who else uses silver? Companies like Tesla are going to have to start stockpiling now because they will know that there are higher prices in the future. It's more than just the United States. We've put it on the strategic minerals list, but all that was alarm bells for everybody else. It's time. I can tell by what countries are doing around the world that we are headed towards some sort of monetary system that has gold connected to it. This next bust that we are headed for, which I think is very close. I have a feeling that we are going to have another October crash. Hi, everyone. It's Mike and Alan again with the Gold Silver Show. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm great, Mike. Thanks. How are you?
Excellent. So you've prepared a little presentation and you've run me through it. So I know what some of the frames are. So let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So gold and silver are smashing records. They're going vertical. It's pretty exciting. And we start here. Breaking news from bar chart. Silver jumps to its highest price in 14 years. So up here it's at 41.96, just about 42. Wow. This is very exciting.
Yeah, I think it was the last video. It broke to its highest price in 13 years, 11 months, and 10 days. And so now it's beyond 14 years. But the exciting part about this is there is almost no resistance left. And the resistance that is there is extremely weak resistance. It's only technical traders that look at this price and go, well, the price might hit this level and then do a pullback. And so I'll sell here and I'll buy here. And a lot of them are going to be wrong because the people that bought back then have either already sold or they're hanging on for far higher prices. There's going to be very few people, and I've said this before, going, at least I broke even and selling, especially when you account for inflation. They didn't break even. We have to get beyond that $48 price. Now, one thing I'm very proud of is, I started GoldSilver.com to try to protect the middle class because I knew what they were doing to the currency, and so far it has come true. And about 99.9% of every client that we have is in profit. There's only a couple of people that bought at higher prices in silver than this, and there is no higher price for gold than what we're at. And so, I really feel like I've done a good service for people, and I hope that I have. So, this is great to see.
Yeah, I'm certain that you have. You've done a great service for me too, which is why I, wanted to work with you on this channel. I mean, there are so many people who owe their financial well-being to you and your education. So, yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thanks. Okay, it's been a lot of work, but it's been fun too. So,
yeah. Well,
what's next?
Yeah, some of our viewers have some questions on that recent video you mentioned. Clay Taylor asks, "What are the ramifications of silver being placed on the strategic minerals list?"
Well, it means that the government has to start building stockpiles. And so it's another buyer, and it's a big buyer. This is a really big buyer. But again, this will also, who else uses silver? Companies like Tesla are going to have to start stockpiling now because they will know that there are higher prices in the future. And so this is very similar. Southwest Airlines got a big... It really helped launch them into a major airline by taking out a whole bunch of oil futures back when oil was like $10 a barrel in 1999, 2000. And so they locked in these prices and they had a huge advantage over all of their competitors. Well, anybody that uses a lot of silver in production of goods needs to take a position now and protect themselves from triple-digit silver and gain that same leverage over their competitors.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And it's companies and it's countries. So just because the United States added it to a strategic minerals list, other countries are thinking the same thing, and the game theory is already at play. So now it's just a race to get a hold of that silver before it's too expensive.
Exactly. Yeah. So the countries are the biggest buyers, and you're right. It is more than just the United States. We've put it on the strategic minerals list, but all that was alarm bells for everybody else. It's time.
Exactly. Yeah. And speaking of countries buying up all the silver, if silver was more expensive, making war would be more expensive. Less war, more prosperity.
Absolutely true, but the problem with government is they will just tax us more. Silver could go to $1 million an ounce, and they're just going to take as much as they can from the population in two methods: the regular tax and inflation tax. And as they print for I did a lot. When I was writing my first book, my study on the Weimar hyperinflation was a stack of books about a foot high. And so I had assistants. I didn't read all of them. I'm dyslexic. They read them and they highlighted stuff for me to look at. But we did a very intense study on the Weimar hyperinflation during that World War I. When there's war on your soil, you have a lot of anxiety, and every dollar you earn gets saved. So none of it is in circulation, and it allows the government to keep on printing and printing and printing, and you don't see the dilution of the currency supply. You don't see the devaluation of the currency until the war ends and the anxiety is lifted. And the minute some of that currency comes out of hiding, back then you would stick it under your mattress, not put it in the bank. But once it comes out from under the mattress, look out, you're in for a hyperinflation. And so, yes, it'll make war more expensive. But if we are having war, the population will start doing more saving, velocity will slow down, and the result is that the government can very secretly steal a majority of your wealth without you knowing it until it's too late.
Yeah, exactly. The way I look at it is it's not so much about the price of silver, it's the fact that governments can have a credit instrument at all, right? They can borrow against the future taxation of their citizens to fund warfare in the present. And you have to take away that mechanism, that like infinite credit line that all these nations have. Otherwise, they'll fight wars forever.
And that's what using gold used to do. And then we went from 100% reserve ratio. First we had gold. Then we had gold notes 100% backed. And then we introduced the Federal Reserve and it was 40% backed. And then the Bretton Woods, and it dropped eventually to 8%, but there was no specified reserve ratio. But gold standards opened the door for this scam to all happen again. And so I hope we don't end up, I can tell by what countries are doing around the world that we are headed towards some sort of monetary system that has gold connected to it. Is it going to be another gold standard, or will the citizens of planet Earth wake up and say, no, we're going to use something real and that stores value? And fiat currencies have proven that they don't store value, and mathematically they can't. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of fiat currencies that don't store value, have you considered that it is possible that the powers that be have mastered the art of keeping this bubble going indefinitely? With AI and stablecoins, I'm starting to think we have entered the almost everything bubble that can't be popped. What do you think?
No, it's absolutely impossible. I think that, everybody says, well, this time it's different because. And so this is the because, right? You can't skew and warp the economy forever. What we are doing what the Federal Reserve has done, this next bust that we are headed for, which I think is very close. I have a feeling that we are going to have another October crash. I know that what caused this crash was Ben Bernanke changing the way that we create currency in the United States. When he introduced quantitative easing specifically creates a lot of currency that has to get funneled through the markets, through the primary dealers, and it enriches the people that determine their wealth by the size of their stock portfolio, not by their savings or those. That it's at the expense of the average worker that has savings and a checking account and cash in his pocket. That's where it all comes from. And it's the Federal Reserve secretly stealing it and giving it to the wealthiest people on earth. And but you can't warp the economy forever without, if gold just kept on going up at the pace that it's going up forever, which it's still, I believe, fundamentally undervalued. But if it went up at the pace that it's going right now, it's outpacing everything else in gains of absolute purchasing power. If it kept on doing this forever, an ounce of gold would buy the earth. That can't happen. And it doesn't matter if they introduce digital currencies and they put us in this pen and try and extract wealth out of us forever. It cannot happen. It is impossible.
Yeah, I agree. So I think in this question, like, can the bubble go on indefinitely? I think of it as like heating a pot of water on the stove. If you start adding more and more heat, the liquid gets hotter and hotter, and you think, oh, I could just heat this forever. But that's not true. Eventually, it boils, and there's a different state change, right? Then it becomes steam, and you can't predict it. But once you realize that this happens with water and other liquids, you realize you can heat anything, and something kind of explosive is going to happen in the long run.
Yeah, and that explosive phase change is when the free market overwhelms the manipulation, and it always has, and it always will. It doesn't matter if we're in some digital currency system. It doesn't matter if they lock us in a jail cell and put us to work and extract wealth from us that way. It doesn't matter even if it's the Matrix. The free market will overwhelm it.
Exactly. Our next question here, Stephen Cahill asks, or he says, there is too much currency in the world. Don't think you'll see the type of crash you are talking about. Infinite money supply will always beat a finite crash, recession, or depression. In a stealth inflationary debasement economy, all the old measurements, ratios, and divergences no longer hold true.
Well, you know what? You and I spent a lot of time creating a chapter for the great gold and silver rush of the 21st century. And it's something that I dubbed wealth cycles back in 2010, I think. And we measured like everything that we could measure where we could get data that goes back into the 1800s. And what we discovered there, what's going to happen? Yes, the old measurements, if you're using currency. Ratios? No. It's impossible for the ratios not to stop working. Once you use ratios, you are getting rid of the currency. That's being taken out of the equation. When you measure your house value of your home in barrels of oil, ounces of gold, bushels of wheat, tons of iron, pounds of copper, shares of the Dow, when you do that, you start seeing what true value is, not price. We have to stop measuring things in price and start measuring the value of things.
Exactly. The dollar is a rubber ruler. You don't build a house with a rubber ruler.
Steve Forbes, there was a great animation that our animator Aiden did for Steve Forbes when he was in Hidden Secrets of Money. And he talks about, what if the foot changed every day? So 11 inches one day and 14 inches the next or whatever. Or if you're trying to bake a cake and the clock change, a minute is 40 seconds one day and 90 seconds the next day, things become impossible. Well, that is the US dollar. And all these floating exchange rates severely limit our prosperity and has stolen part of our lifetimes. You can absolutely prove that when you create greater prosperity, a population will live longer and be happier. This is just fact. And so, and you cannot go back in time and repair transactions that didn't happen or prosperity that didn't happen. And so these fiat currencies, these floating exchange rates, have shortened your lifetime and my lifetime. They absolutely have. And this is something that is provable.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Our next thing here, gold measured in Japanese yen is going parabolic. Look at this. Holy cow.
Yep. Okay. Well, this is an answer to the last question. It's going parabolic. I had you insert a chart after this of the Weimar hyperinflation, simply because this looks like the Weimar hyperinflation. Yeah. Now, if you look at that early part from the end of World War I up until the beginning of 2020, if you make a chart of just that, it's a pre-hyperinflation hyperinflation. I remember we were interviewing Jim Rickards, and I was telling him I had discovered this pre-hyperinflation and I was all excited about it. And he goes, I didn't know I was here for a history lesson. So anyway, that first phase was a conditioning that happened to the population. That loss of 90% of their purchasing power, This is a 90% loss in purchasing power. Taught them that if they hold on to currency too long, so the second time that they saw this happening, that's when they started buying anything. A case of doorknobs will hold its purchasing power better than the currency. And so that's what caused that change in public perception and the introduction of fear of holding on to the currency for more than a few seconds caused that endgame hyperinflation. But the point is that gold is going up faster. Every chart looked like this. Real estate looked like this. The stock market looked like this. Everything in Weimar Germany looked like this, except gold was going up at a factor that was greater than all the other things. So it was gaining in purchasing power during this. And it was in my first book. Go back to the Japanese yen chart one more time, the tab before this. Yeah, okay. Go to Japan. This goes back to 2007. And how many times is this? Is gold quadrupled?
At least quintuple.
Quintupled.
At least 5x, maybe 6. I'd have to do some math.
And Japan has been stuck in basically a deflationary environment, or stagflation, during that whole period of time. Prices of real estate and stuff are not keeping up with gold. If gold quintupled, it's probably tripled or quadrupled in purchasing power of real estate, businesses, and anything else you want to buy. Cars have not quintupled since 2007. So that's a real good measurement. How much is a car since 2007? Has it doubled? Well, that means you can get 2.5 times more cars with your gold.
Yeah, exactly. That's what matters.
Right, exactly.
Purchasing power. Yes. And gold has moved a lot already this year. It's up over $1,000 this year. That's amazing. It's hard to believe it was like 2,600 just earlier this year. 38% so far, so darn close to 40%. Okay,
so 40% it's less than a year. That's since the beginning of the year. So we just started the 9th month.
Yeah.
Is there anything else going up this fast? And the answer is no. It's at this point for this year, this has the greatest gains in absolute purchasing power, and that is what matters is value, not price. And so we're looking at the price. It's up $1,000 this year, but is anything else up 48% this year? Not real estate, not stocks, not Bitcoin, nothing. And so that means that this is gaining in purchasing power against everything else.
Closest thing is silver. Silver's doing pretty well.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of our meme of the day, silver at $30. Not many buyers. Silver at 100. Nope. That's when everyone comes pouring in.
What I'm surprised at is even at 40, 41. There's not many buyers out there, and it's sad to see. I want everybody to be winners. I am very proud that my company that all of our clients, it's 99.9 something percent of all of the clients that we've ever had are winners at this point. So I want to thank you, Alan, for that great presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, and thanks everyone for watching. Okay. Invest and earn up to $2,000 in bonus silver at GoldSilver.com. It's easy. Step 1. Open any GoldSilver storage account excluding IRAs. Step 2. Purchase your precious metals. Step 3. Get up to $2,000 in bonus silver dropped straight into your vault. Visit GoldSilver.com/free silver to claim your silver.